In 1614, a German pamphlet announced a secret brotherhood that had existed for 200 years. The record says it never met. The legend says we just stopped looking. This is how a printing press built, or pretended to build, the world's first transnational secret societies. The recorded history is strange enough. The speculative history is stranger. We will present both. The verdict belongs to whoever is watching. Within 6 years of that pamphlet, more than 400 response publications appeared across Europe, all chasing the same invisible brotherhood. Some scholars call it a literary game. Others, then and now, call it the founding charter of every secret society that followed. The recorded history points to a small Lutheran circle in Tübingen, almost certainly led by Johann Valentin Andreae, a literary invention that escaped its makers. The first edition was printed openly, with the Landgrave of Hesse's permission. Nothing clandestine in the paper trail. But the manifestos were written in code. They named members, they described meetings. The historian Francis Yates argued the texts were real signals to a real reform network preparing to surface. The archives closed the question. Speculation reopens it. But the Rosicrucians might be the smaller story. The press had just demonstrated something far more dangerous, that 20 people with a printer could rewrite Europe. Between 1500 and 1530, Martin Luther produced 20% of all pamphlets printed in the Holy Roman Empire, 5 times the entire Catholic output. One man, one printer, one small heterodox circle in Wittenberg. The result was 130 years of religious war and the breaking of a continent. Andrew Pettigrew calls Luther the world's first mass media figure. Every secret society that came at the error learned the same playbook: small network, asymmetric press, transnational reach, including the one whose printed constitution would carry the model across the world. The recorded origins are Scottish, stonemason lodges from the 1590s through the early 1700s. Codes, oaths, and rituals transmitted by manuscript and by mouth. The Shaw Statutes of 1598 were never printed in their era. The first published Masonic constitution waited until 1723, when James Anderson printed his constitutions in London. A century and a quarter of organized secret-keeping with the press standing right there, unused. That is the archive's testimony. But once the constitutions were printed, the archive becomes startling. What happened in the 60 years after 1723 changed every society that came after. 1723, London. 25, Dublin. 26, Paris. 28, Madrid. 31, The Hague. 33, Boston, where Benjamin Franklin reprinted Anderson's constitutions the following year. Russia by 31. Sweden, the German states. Italy by the 1740s. By the eve of the French Revolution, over 100,000 Masons across Europe operating under one printed standard. The historian Margaret Jacob calls Masonic lodges the most important enclaves in which modern civil society was formed. Recorded history says the press distributed a model. Speculative history says it saturated a continent by design. And here is where recorded and speculative history diverge most sharply. There is no neutral version of what comes next. The archive. The Bavarian Illuminati was founded May 1st, 1776. Banned in 85. Papers seized in 86. Printed by the Munich State Press in 87. The Order's autopsy report. 9 years of life. 2,000 members at peak, case closed. But the Wilhelmsbad Masonic Convention of 1782 recorded the Illuminati actively penetrating European Freemasonry. In April of 2026, the Gotha Research Centre announced new archival evidence that the order survived in Thuringia under Masonic cover for years after its official dissolution. In 1797, John Robison and Augustin Barruel published twin exposés naming the Illuminati as the engine behind the French Revolution, books that have never gone out of print. Modern orders openly claim Illuminati lineage today. The recorded history closes the case in 1785. The speculative history says the case was never closed, only refiled. What the archives and the speculations agree on: the printing press did not just spread literacy. It built the symbolic infrastructure, the names, the rituals, the sigils, the constitutions, that any group calling itself a secret society would draw on for the next 4 centuries. Whether those societies were or imagined, hidden, or hiding in plain sight, the press is what made them legible. To themselves, to their enemies, and to us. 400 pamphlets in 6 years, answering a brotherhood that may have never met, or may have just stopped writing. The shadow came before the shape, or the shape was always there, and the press only revealed it. Next, we trace where the conspiracy economy actually pays out, and who profits from never closing the case.